All right, let's remind folks of the poll question. So there we go. Still a trip to Ohio State is the leader. I still think there's a possibility it's Penn State, but okay. We don't see, there are a few homers there, literally saying a home game, about 14% of you it looks like. Go ahead and tell us what you think, and we'll keep track of that. And again, just to remind you, later in the show, we know that ESPN is going to reveal their bracket. They claim it's going to be about 12:15, so I would sit right here with us. We will be watching it as well, and we can sit there and go, you're eighth, as well as anybody. Plus, we'll be discussing Tennessee's matchup when it happens. And you get the added benefit of just watching us flail around until they announce it, so it should be fun.
We get to yell, correct?
Yes, lots of screaming. Yeah. Screaming is welcome. Okay, let's take a look. 4- and 5-star blue chippers right here as we continue to talk recruiting. All right, Texas, 5 5-stars, 14 4-stars. That's 19 blue chippers. Alabama, 4 5-stars. Georgia, 5 5-stars. Oregon, 4 5-stars. Hope I'm saying this right. Ohio State, 2. LSU, 3 5-stars. Texas A&M, Michigan, 2 each. Tennessee, 1. Auburn, 1. Okay. Look, you got 16. Texas has 19. What's the difference between a 5 and a 4? That's the eye of the beholder. But Ryan Callahan, we know Josh Heupel can coach a team up. You just finished 3rd. You tied for 2nd if you don't, you lost to Georgia, so that was the tiebreaker. But your record, 2nd best in the SEC this year out of a 16-team league, and you didn't have the best talent in the league, although portal and everything plays into that. We know he's catching up on the field. Are they catching up roster-wise, talent-wise, off the field? When I look there and I see Texas and Georgia and Alabama with 5 5-stars and you've got 1, I say no, but am I not looking at it correctly?
I think, are they catching up in a way that makes you think they're going to be recruiting like Georgia in a few years if they keep this up? No, I wouldn't say that. Are they closing the gap on the teams at the top that they're chasing? Yeah, I think so. And I think, obviously, the transfer portal is helping them in that regard. NIL's making it easier to win some of those battles here and there. So there are multiple things that are bringing the field closer together. That's why Tennessee's in the college football playoff this year. So a lot of things still conspiring to play into that. But bottom line is Tennessee's recruiting at a higher level. The pack has kind of fallen back toward them a little bit too. So, yes, they're getting closer to those teams. And as I've always said, if you're recruiting top 10 classes year after year, so Tennessee's now done that a couple times under Josh Heupel, you are giving yourself a chance to compete for championships because it comes down to, at that point, evaluations, retention, all the things like that. And most importantly, some of Tennessee's biggest wins in this class, quarterback and line of scrimmage. That's where the game is played. David Sanders at offensive tackle, 4 really good defensive linemen. They're all 4-stars. And another highly ranked quarterback in George McIntyre. You get those right, or mostly right, you're going to be in the mix.
This morning, John and I were talking. I went through and looked at Tennessee's team with their 4 stars. Almost all of their best players are the 5-star quarterback and then 4-star guys. Dylan Sampson, I'd forgot he was a 4-star. James Pierce Jr. was a 4-star. I looked up Norman Lott. He was a 4-star. Mm-hmm. Cooper Mays was a 4-star. That seems where you can build a really, really good competitive team. But then as I was watching games yesterday, I went and looked up some of those guys too. And then you look at the real difference makers a lot of other places. It's all 5 and 4 stars, which almost seem nowadays the 3 stars, you can develop one into a first-round NFL draft pick. But is that becoming a little irrelevant for these teams in the top 10?
Yes, and I mean, in a way, but evaluations still matter. I mean, Dylan Sampson, to your point, was a 3-star most of the process, became a 4-star late, maybe even after early signing.
As soon as he signed.
Yeah, I mean, sometime after his senior season, when his senior film got out. So, yeah, I mean, evaluations still matter, and I like the point you maybe indirectly made there. James Pierce was a 4-star, sort of a late riser, like middle-of-the-pack 4-star. There are plenty of 5-stars Tennessee signed over the years. Khalil McKenzie, guys like that, who weren't as good a player in college as James Pierce is. So if you're getting those types of 4-stars and you're getting the right ones, it's as good as a 5-star sometimes. So you just got to – evaluations still matter, and you've got to ultimately get it right. Sometimes we, as an industry, don't get it right. No one's going to bat 1,000. Sometimes coaches don't get it right. So
there's so many variables in these kids as to whether – does their girlfriend go to another school and they're heartbroken and they don't play well? Is there an injury? Do they not like algebra. You know, there's 1,000 things as the coach an idiot.
Do you give up on one that wants to go to the transfer portal too early? He wants to leave after a year for more money. You say he's not worth it. He goes and you make the wrong decision. That matters.
Looking at your recruiting rankings, Tennessee's a place where 5-stars go to die. It's not good. Most of the 5-stars Tennessee has signed have been average players at best.
In the past, that's definitely one of the problems they had under previous coaches. Now, Nico, I guess the story's still to be written there a little bit, but they've got to make the most.
Good enough to get to a playoff with him.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he carried you there, but he was good enough to get you there. Yeah. Josh, you got a question or a comment here to wrap us up?
I would just think, Ryan, the point you made about line of scrimmage and quarterback matters so much, as well as think about where those guys could have gone. David Sanders Jr. could have gone to Ohio State. It was Tennessee, OSU. They recruited at the very top.
Yep.
At quarterback, Nico could have gone anywhere. It was Oregon, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. And then George McIntyre's Tennessee over Alabama. So I think it's a mix of where are they ranked if we're having that conversation of the best schools, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, how they recruit year in, year out. But did those schools want those guys? Like Ricky Gibson, when he chose Tennessee, choosing Tennessee over Georgia, I think elevated how we should have viewed him, and now he's a quality starter as a second-year corner.
Yep, I think that's all great points, and I just think you showed it right there. Alabama, sure, they've got the 4 5-stars in this class, but when they've got 19 4 and 5 stars, and Tennessee's at 16, 8 spots below, that's just not a huge gap. I mean, Tennessee's class could end up being better than a top 5 class in these rankings ultimately.
It'll be interesting to see where most of these guys go once they go into the portal.
Yeah, there's that too. But Tennessee's done a pretty good job of retaining their talent too when they get it. So I mean, that's a big part of this. But yeah, I just think when you look at where they got their wins, they did a lot of things right in this class. It wasn't perfect, never is going to be, and you're going to lose some things you don't want to. But overall, I think it's a positive sign. They're moving in the right direction.
For the most part, Heupel doesn't live and die in the portal.
Yeah.
So that makes, as much as I joke about it, that makes signing day more important here than it would be at a place like Ole Miss, where they do live and die through the portal. That's where they spend most of their money. All right, Ryan, very good. Bob, thank you today. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
When we come back, Mark Pancrath joins us. We got basketball, then we got the bracket stuff. Come on back on the Sports Week.